this is an important message that we want to get out. And we are joined this morning by Troy Hartman,
Right.
Who just has a
I
really
know it's early and trying to deal with drunk Jay is a challenge on a Friday, so thanks
Sorry.
for doing that.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
You want to tell us a little bit about why you're here? What happened to you?
Yeah, you bet. I was just out of college, just graduated, and got into a drunk driving accident where was only vehicle involved was myself and my friend. I was the driver, and you know, long story short, just to let everybody know, you know, was drinking, had a .1 level that night, and my friend actually died in the accident. And so I was, you know, faced with involuntary manslaughter, Class C felony after just graduating college with a criminal justice degree. Pretty ironic. But
So you wanted to be a highway patrol trooper?
yeah, I was actually on my way to. I graduated in December, and I was on my way to Kansas Highway Patrol. Supposed to start in January 15th. So going through the academy. So it was on New Year's Eve of 2000. So it was right after graduation.
So you were a .10, the legal limit's .08,
Right.
so you were above the legal limit for the state of Missouri. What kind of went through your mind the night of the crash? What happened? Tell us about the crash itself.
It was actually a New Year's Eve party that, to be honest, was a little bit more laid back than our normal ones, because we had done this for a long time. Saying we would be my friends from the college basketball team I played on, and we actually got together that night at the coach's house, and he thought that, you know, if we were at his house we'd be fine and out of trouble, but he left, and so we did what we normally did, and just, you know, drank and played cards, and so later that night I had my good friend Matt came and you know, to catch up with everybody else. He hit it pretty heavy. He was drinking whiskey, and it just worked out that night that I had not driven and he drove, and so it's kind of ironic again. It's kind of the story of my life, is irony, but I had done it for a long time. Really started in middle school, and
Drinking?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a couple older brothers, so, you know, I was in high school going to college parties, and that's just kind of the way I grew up. So, you know, I say that to say when I got to college, I think everybody just thought that I had done that for so long that I could handle it. Nobody could tell if I was drunk or not, and it was no big deal. Nobody questioned it. Nobody asked, can he not? And you know, you had mentioned earlier just how many people actually, you know, drink and drive before they get nailed or get caught. And, you know, that's not a shock to me. All of my friends probably, you know, well into 100 times, and they never got caught.
Wow.
And but didn't mean that they didn't have accidents and cause trouble. So.
And so you decided to drive because, let's say, maybe I'll just throw this out there, you were the one that was less drunk.
Yeah.
And people have that, you know, like, they sort of choose, like, who's the least drunk in our party? You know, who can drive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
And that was a common occurrence. So.
So you drove.
Mm-hmm.
Just Matt was in the car with you?
Yeah, he had an Explorer, and we actually decided to go visit another friend that wasn't at the party we were at, and it was about 30 minutes away from where we were, and so we actually visited the friend and came back, and about 2:30 in the morning I ran off the corner, and, off about a 40-foot ravine, and my friend was thrown out.
So you
40-foot
You
ravine.
didn't have your seatbelt on.
Neither one of us did, no.
So were you thrown out?
I was not. I actually, my seat broke and laid back, and my friend, they think he went through the sunroof of the Explorer.
Which is a pretty common occurrence in car crashes, for people to be thrown through the sunroof.
Really?
Yeah, so did you know he was dead at the scene, or was he dead at the scene?
He was still alive, but he was incoherent, and he actually, I was out in the middle of nowhere, basically, and so after realizing how critical he was, I took off to go to a house a couple miles away.
Which you bring up a good point, Troy, because when the crash happens, you're still drunk after the crash, and you're trying to make emergency decisions with drunken logic. So you decided to go to a house and get help.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
I'll never forget it. Boy that was about 14 opened the door. You know, by this time it was close to 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know, just never forget the look on his face. And he went and got his dad, and his dad came, and I called actually the 911, talked to the ambulance, told him how to get there, and stayed there on the phone with them until they got to the scene of the accident. And then this young boy and his dad gave me a ride back to the accident. When I got back, by that time, my friend Matt had a crushed lung, and they put a tracheotomy in his throat, and I showed up and started holding his hand and talking to him and hoping that, and yelling out that he would make it and come through. At that point, they realized I was a driver. They were looking for the driver, and that's when I went back up on top of the ravine and talked to the highway patrolman who actually taught classes at my college. I knew him, and I just told him that I've had too much to be driving tonight. I knew it, and so I did the breathalyzer that you all are doing, and sat in the highway patrol car and watched them pull the Explorer out of the ravine and my friend on a board.
So they took him to the hospital and he
Yeah.
died there.
Took him to the hospital, went to the Taney County Courthouse, and but at this point I was charged with the DUI and careless imprudent driving, and phone rang, and I'll never forget it. A highway patrolman picked it up and hung up the phone, came back and said, "Troy, your friend, his heart stopped beating on the way to the hospital, and I'm charging you with involuntary manslaughter."
And that was in 2000.
Yeah.
It probably just seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it does.
And you are now a youth pastor at North
That's
Point
right. Yep.
Church?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that so many people have benefited from your story.
Yeah, they have.
Because a lot of times we think that things, we get so angry and things, how could this happen? But everything happens for a reason, and we're so glad that you're here.
Yeah, thanks for the chance to
Yes.
share that story.
Yeah.